I never thought a single click could destroy my entire world. But there it was, staring back at me from my laptop screen at 11:47 p.m., a folder labeled Insurance Policy, Do Not Delete, buried deep in our shared cloud storage. My name is Teddy, and I was just trying to clean up our digital mess that night. Peyton, my wife of 5 years, always teased me about being obsessive about organization. "That's why I married you," she'd say, kissing me on the cheek. "You keep everything running smoothly while I chase the big dreams." The folder shouldn't have been there. We had a system. Work files went to work drives. Personal stuff stayed in our shared cloud. Simple, clean. But this was different. Double click. My hands started shaking as images filled the screen. Peyton and her boss, Dante, in a hotel room. Receipts for jewelry I'd never seen her wear. Bank statements showing transfers I knew nothing about. Email threads with subject lines that made me sick to my stomach. "Hey babe, still up?" Peyton's voice floated up from downstairs. I heard her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. "Yeah," I managed to call back, my throat tight. In the office, I minimized the window just as she appeared in the doorway, still in her work clothes, looking perfect as always. "You wouldn't believe the day I had," she said, dropping her designer bag on the floor. "Dante's got me working on this huge campaign and who's paying for the Marriott?" The words came out before I could stop them. Her smile froze. "What?" I turned the laptop around. "Room 7 Morphine, 2 weeks ago, and the week before that, and the jewelry from Tiffany's, and the offshore account you opened last month." The transformation was instant. Her warm smile vanished, replaced by something cold and hard I'd never seen before. "You've been snooping through my private files." "Private files on our shared cloud storage." I stood up, my legs unsteady. "Tell me I'm wrong, Peyton. Tell me there's an explanation." She laughed, actually laughed. "Oh, Teddy. Sweet, naive Teddy." She walked over and patted my cheek like I was a child. "What are you going to do about it?" "Go to HR. Tell them the big bad executive is sleeping with her boss." "Who do you think they'll believe? Me or the guy who makes half what I do and depends on my insurance?" "I trusted you," I whispered. 5 years, Peyton. Everything we built. We, she scoffed. "I built this. The house, the lifestyle, everything. You just rode along, playing with your little cybersecurity toys while I did the heavy lifting." She picked up her bag. "I'm staying at a hotel tonight. Don't wait up." "Why?" I called after her. "Why do this to us?" She paused at the door. "Because I could. Because you were too weak to stop me. Because Dante is everything you're not." Her lips curved into a cruel smile. "Don't worry, honey. I'll let you keep the Netflix password when this is over." The front door slammed. I sat there in the dark, staring at the screen, at the evidence of my life falling apart. 5 years of memories turned to ash in my mouth. But as the shock faded, something else took its place. Something cold and focused and sharp. I opened a new folder and started copying files. They thought I was weak. They thought I would break. I looked at the time, 12:01 a.m. Day 1 of the rest of my life. "Game on," I whispered to the empty room and started to work. I spent the next 3 days playing the perfect, devastated husband. It wasn't hard. The pain was real enough. But behind the facade, I was building something else. Something they'd never see coming. "Jesus, Ted," my best friend Grant said, staring at my laptop screen. We were in a quiet corner of a coffee shop far from my usual haunts. "This is comprehensive. Look at this one," I said, pulling up an email thread. They'd been planning company trips around their hookups for months. Every expense filed as business meetings. Grant leaned back, running his hands through his hair. "What are you going to do?" "I need someone on the inside," I said. "Someone who knows the company but isn't loyal to Dante." I pulled up LinkedIn and showed him a profile. "Remember Kylie from college? Your ex, the one who works in HR there now?" I nodded. "I'm going to reach out, carefully." My phone buzzed. "Peyton. Coming home tonight. We should talk." I typed back. "Sure, I'll make dinner." Playing the role of the desperate husband trying to save his marriage. Grant caught my expression. "You're scary good at this, man." "I learned from the best," I said, thinking of Peyton's Oscar-worthy performances over the last year. That evening, I had pasta ready when Peyton came home. She'd softened her approach, trying a new angle. Baby, I know you're hurt, she said, touching my arm. But we can work through this. It was just a mistake, a moment of weakness. I forced myself to look wounded, vulnerable. The money transfers weren't a moment of weakness, Peyton. That was planned. Work bonuses, she said smoothly. I was going to surprise you once it grew enough for a down payment on that vacation home you wanted. The lie was so beautiful, so perfectly crafted. I almost admired it. I want to believe you, I whispered. Then believe me, she said, kissing my cheek. I'm going to take a shower. The moment she was gone, I grabbed her phone. She'd changed the password, but I'd installed a keylogger days ago. 3 quick taps and I was in. A new message from Dante. Is he buying it? Her response. Like a puppy begging for treats. Getting rid of him will be easier than we thought. My hands shook as I heard the shower turn off. I quickly replaced her phone and pretended to be busy with dishes. Later that night, I sent a carefully worded email to Kylie from a new account. Need confidential HR guidance regarding executive misconduct. Time sensitive. Her response came within an hour. Teddy, I'd know your writing style anywhere. What's really going on? I smiled. She always was the sharp one. I sent back, coffee tomorrow. Some things shouldn't be in writing. Corner Cafe, 8 a.m. And Teddy, whatever this is, be careful. Dante has friends in high places. I lay in bed that night, listening to Peyton's steady breathing beside me, remembering her words to Dante. Getting rid of him will be easier than we thought. My phone lit up with one last message from Kylie. Just checked some files. You're going to want to see this. Bring a flash drive tomorrow. I turned to look at my sleeping wife, the woman I'd loved for 5 years, who was now plotting my exit like I was a minor inconvenience. Oh, honey, I whispered, too softly to wake her. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Tomorrow would be interesting. Very interesting indeed. Kylie hadn't changed much since college. Same quick smile, same sharp eyes that seemed to see right through bullshit. She was already waiting when I arrived at Corner Cafe, 2 coffees on the table. You look like hell, she said as I sat down. Thanks. You look successful. I nodded at her crisp blazer and professional demeanor. She slid a USB drive across the table. You might want to brace yourself for this. I pulled every expense report, every travel requisition, and every calendar entry involving Dante and your wife for the past year. I plugged it into my laptop. The files were meticulously organized, Kylie's trademark efficiency. How bad? They've been billing the company for their little rendezvous, fake client meetings, inflated expense reports, even a corporate apartment downtown that doesn't officially exist. My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. Show me. She leaned over, pulling up documents. Here, last month's business development retreat in Miami. The company paid for a beachfront suite, and this, she clicked another file, is the jewelry receipt coded as client appreciation gifts. Using company money to buy gifts for his mistress, I muttered. Classy. There's more, Kylie said, her voice softening. Teddy, they've been meeting with HR's legal team. Officially, it's about restructuring the marketing department, but... She pulled up a calendar entry. This meeting was with a divorce attorney. My hands clenched. When? 3 days ago, while you were at work. I stared at the screen, at the evidence of my wife systematically dismantling our life together. She's going to try to take everything, isn't she? Kylie nodded. From what I can piece together, they're planning to force you out of the house before serving papers. There's a document labeled Exit Strategy Final that needs a password I can't crack. Let me try something. I pulled up my decryption software. Peyton always uses variations of her mother's maiden name for important stuff. 3 attempts later, we were in. The document was comprehensive. Plans to transfer our joint accounts, documentation about the house, even a draft separation agreement that painted me as emotionally unstable and financially irresponsible. Jesus, Kylie whispered. This is methodical, I finished. She's not just leaving me, she's trying to destroy me. What are you going to do? I closed the laptop. First, I need you to document everything. Every policy violation, every misused dollar. Make it bulletproof. Already started, she said. But Teddy, be careful. Dante's got the board in his pocket. He's untouchable. I smiled for the first time that morning. Nobody's untouchable. They just haven't met the right person yet. Kylie studied my face. You've changed. The Teddy I knew in college would have been broken by this. The Teddy you knew in college was naive. This version? I held up the USB drive. This version knows how to fight back. My phone buzzed. Peyton, working late tonight. Don't wait up. Sure thing, honey, I typed back. Love you. Kylie raised an eyebrow at my response. The best revenge is making them think they're winning, I explained, while I'm copying every file from her work laptop tonight. You can do that? I'm a cybersecurity consultant, remember, and Peyton never changes her passwords unless forced to. I stood up. Thank you, Kylie, for everything. She caught my arm. Be careful. And keep me updated? I nodded, feeling a familiar warmth I thought I'd forgotten. Count on it. Walking out, I checked my watch. 8 hours until Peyton's late night at work. 8 hours to prepare for the next phase. Game on, indeed. Following Dante's Tesla through downtown was almost too easy. For a man orchestrating an affair, he wasn't particularly cautious. I kept 3 cars between us, tracking his location on my phone. Amazing what you can do with someone's email password. He pulled into the parking lot of La Maison, one of those overpriced French restaurants where entrees cost more than my weekly grocery budget. I parked across the street and waited. 20 minutes later, Peyton's Audi arrived. She was wearing the red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. Nice touch. I lifted my camera, zooming in as they kissed in the parking lot. Evidence. Always collect evidence. My phone buzzed. Kylie, you need to see this now. Can you talk? I called her immediately. I found something in the legal files, she said, her voice tense. They're not just planning your exit, they're setting you up. What do you mean? There's a document. They're planning to accuse you of emotional abuse. They've been building a case, gathering witnesses, other executives who'll swear they saw signs. They're going to use it to force you out of the house and freeze your assets. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. When? Soon. Days, maybe. But that's not the worst part. She paused. Teddy, Dante's married. That stopped me cold. What? His wife's name is Valerie. She's a partner at Crawford and Reed. You know, that big law firm downtown. They've got 2 kids. I watched through my camera as Dante led my wife into the restaurant, his hand on the small of her back. Send me everything you have on Valerie. And Kylie? Thank you. Be careful, she said softly before hanging up. I spent the next 2 hours photographing them through the restaurant's windows. The intimate touches, the wine, the way Peyton laughed at his jokes. When they finally emerged, they were all over each other. I followed them to the Marriott downtown, their usual spot, according to the expense reports. Back home, I studied the information Kylie had sent about Valerie. Successful lawyer, active in charity work, mother of 2 boys. Her email was easy to find on her firm's website. I created a new anonymous account and attached 1 photo, Dante and Peyton kissing in the parking lot. Subject line, you should know where your husband is tonight. The response came 3 hours later. Who is this? Someone who thinks you deserve the truth, I wrote back. Room 714, Marriott downtown, right now. How do you know this? Because the woman he's with is my wife. A long pause. Then, meet me. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Carter's Coffee on 5th. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. I'll be there. Around midnight, Peyton came home smelling of expensive wine and Dante's cologne. She didn't even try to hide it anymore. Good meeting? I asked from the couch, playing the role of the oblivious husband. Very productive, she smiled, heading upstairs. Going to bed. Don't stay up too late. My phone buzzed one last time. Kylie, you okay? I thought about Peyton's cruel smile, about Dante's wife and kids, about the carefully constructed web of lies they'd built around me. No, I typed back. But I will be. Tomorrow I'd meet Valerie. Tomorrow the real damage would begin. I closed my eyes, remembering Peyton's words from weeks ago. You're too soft to do anything. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Valerie looked exactly like her LinkedIn photo, polished, professional, and absolutely terrifying. The kind of woman who could destroy someone in court without breaking a sweat. She was already waiting when I arrived at Carter's Coffee. Show me everything, she said, before I could even sit down. I placed my laptop on the table and started pulling up files. How much time do you have? All afternoon. I told my office I had a migraine. She leaned forward, studying the screen. When did it start? The affair? At least a year, maybe longer. I showed her the expense reports, the fake meetings, the hotel receipts. They've been using company money to fund it. Her face hardened as she scrolled through the evidence. Classic Dante. This isn't his first affair, you know. Just his most elaborate. You knew? I suspected. But he was always too careful. Until now. She looked up at me. Why are you showing me this? Because you deserve to know, and because I need your help. She raised an eyebrow. What kind of help? Your husband and my wife aren't just having an affair. They're planning to destroy us both. They've been moving money, creating false narratives, building cases against us. The offshore accounts, she said quietly. I noticed some unusual transfers. Through Omar Sims? Her head snapped up. You know about Omar. He's been helping them hide money. But here's the thing. He's not registered with any financial authority. What he's doing is illegal. A slow smile spread across Valerie's face. And as a lawyer, I could make that very, very problematic for them. Exactly. I pulled up more documents. They think they're untouchable. But with your legal expertise and my evidence, we could ruin them, she finished. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Omar. We need to talk. They're moving faster than you think. I showed Valerie the message. Looks like their financial guy is getting nervous. Good, she said. Scared people make mistakes. She pulled out her phone and started typing. I'm calling in some favors. How quickly can you get me complete records of every transaction? Give me 24 hours. Do it. And Teddy? She looked up, her eyes cold. Let's make this hurt. I nodded, then got another text. This one from Kylie. Emergency. Dante's pushing through new HR policies. They're trying to protect themselves. They're getting paranoid, I told Valerie. Starting to make mistakes. Perfect. She stood up, gathering her things. Send me everything tonight, and don't confront them yet. Let them think they're winning. One more thing, I said. When this all comes out, I want it public. No quiet settlements. She smiled again, and this time it was predatory. Oh, don't worry. By the time we're done, everyone will know exactly what kind of people they are. After she left, I called Kylie. How bad are the new policies? Bad, she said. But they're sloppy, rushing things, making it obvious they're covering something up. Good. Keep tracking everything. And Kylie? I paused. Thank you for all of this. Someone needs to stop them, she said softly. Might as well be us. That night, Peyton came home late again. She was humming as she went upstairs, probably thinking about her perfect escape plan. My phone lit up with Omar's message. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., park bench by the lake, come alone. I looked up at our bedroom, where Peyton was getting ready for bed, still humming her happy tune. Enjoy it while it lasts, I thought. The storm is coming, and you'll never see it until it's too late. Omar was already on the bench when I arrived, nervously checking his phone every few seconds. He looked exactly like his profile picture. Expensive suit, designer glasses, and the anxious energy of someone who knew they were in too deep. They're going to move everything tomorrow, he said, without preamble. Dante's spooked. He thinks someone's watching them. He's right. I sat down beside him. How much have they hidden? Millions. He wiped sweat from his forehead. Company funds, personal accounts, everything. I helped them set up shell companies, fake consulting contracts. I shouldn't have done it. But you did. I didn't know about you at first, he said quickly. Or Valerie. They said it was just business restructuring. I pulled out my phone and played a recording. Peyton's voice discussing how to hide their affair using Omar's services. His face went pale. That's enough to end your career, I said calmly. Unless what? Unless you help me take them down first. He stared at the lake for a long moment. They'll kill my reputation. I'll kill more than your reputation if you don't help me. My phone buzzed. Kylie. Dante just called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. They're making their move. I showed Omar the message. Looks like your time to choose sides is running out. He pulled out his laptop with shaking hands. What do you need? Everything. Account numbers, transfer records, communications. For the next hour, Omar downloaded files, explaining each piece of their financial web. By the time we finished, I had enough evidence to bury them both. Back at the office, Kylie was waiting in the parking lot. The board meeting's set for 9 a.m. They're going to announce restructuring changes. Perfect timing. I handed her a flash drive. Get this to legal anonymously. Make sure it hits their desks an hour before the meeting. What about Valerie? She's ready. The moment this hits legal, she's filing for divorce and freezing all their assets. Kylie touched my arm. Are you sure about this? Once we start. They started this, I said. I'm just finishing it. That evening, I made Peyton's favorite dinner. She came home looking distracted, checking her phone constantly. Everything okay? I asked, playing concerned husband. Fine. She kissed my cheek absently. Just work stuff. Big meeting tomorrow. Anything exciting? She smiled that cruel smile I'd grown to hate. You could say that. Some big changes coming. I bet there are. She looked at me sharply, but I kept my face innocent. After dinner, she made a call in the bedroom, speaking too quietly to hear. But I didn't need to hear. I'd already bugged her phone days ago. My laptop pinged with the recording. Everything's ready, she was telling Dante. He doesn't suspect a thing. By this time tomorrow, it'll all be over. I sent the recording to Valerie with one message. It's time. Then I called Kylie. You ready for tomorrow? Legal has the files. Valerie's lawyer is standing by. The board members have all been anonymously tipped off about the concerning evidence they'll receive in the morning. She paused. Teddy, after this, let's get through tomorrow first, I said softly. I watched Peyton getting ready for bed, humming again, probably dreaming of her victory tomorrow. She had no idea that in less than 12 hours, her entire world would collapse. Sweet dreams, I whispered as she turned out the light. Tomorrow would be anything but sweet. At exactly 8 a.m., I hit send on the email that would destroy everything Peyton and Dante had built. The recipient list was beautiful. CEO, Board of Directors, Legal Department, HR, Ethics Committee, and of course, every major partner in the firm. Subject: evidence of executive fraud, embezzlement, and policy violations. Peyton had already left for the office, confident in her victory. She had no idea what was waiting in everyone's inbox. My phone started buzzing immediately. First, Kylie. It's happening. Legal is going crazy. Dante just got called into the CEO's office. Then Omar. They're freezing the accounts, all of them. And finally, Valerie. Papers served. He's being escorted out. I drove to the office building, parking across the street with a perfect view of the entrance. At 8:47, Dante stormed out, face red, security guards following him. His phone was practically glued to his ear. At 9:03, Peyton's Audi screeched into the parking lot. She was already on her phone, probably trying to reach Dante. I watched her rush inside, still believing she could salvage this. She couldn't. By 9:15, my phone was flooded with messages. Kylie. HR just suspended them both. Police are on their way. Omar. Federal investigators want my cooperation. I'm taking the deal. Valerie. Judge granted the emergency freeze on all assets. He's got nothing. At 9:32, Peyton emerged from the building, mascara running, carrying a box of her belongings. Security watched as she stumbled to her car. That's when I pulled up beside her. Need a ride? I asked through the open window. Since that car is technically company property, and well, you don't work there anymore. She stared at me, realization dawning. You did this? No, Peyton, you did this. I just exposed it. You ruined everything, she screamed, drawing attention from passers-by, like you were planning to ruin me. I held up my phone, playing her conversation with Dante about their exit strategy. Funny how things work out. I'll fight this, she hissed. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Actually, I do. A fraud who used company money to fund her affair. A thief who tried to steal my assets. And now? I smiled. A soon-to-be defendant in a federal investigation. Her phone buzzed, the color drained from her face as she read the message. Let me guess, I said. That's your lawyer telling you not to leave town. Security approached us. Mom, we need those keys and building passes. I watched as she handed everything over, her perfect world crumbling around her. That's when Valerie pulled up in her Mercedes. Perfect timing, I said. Valerie, I believe you know my wife. Peyton's eyes widened in horror as Valerie approached, legal documents in hand. Mrs. Wolfe, Peyton whispered. Not for much longer, Valerie smiled. Oh, and since you and my husband used company funds for your little romance, we'll be naming you in the lawsuit, both civil and criminal. Peyton's legs gave out. She sat on the curb, clutching her box of belongings, as police cars pulled into the parking lot. "Who's weak now?" I asked softly, before driving away. My phone buzzed one last time. "Kylie. Done here. Dinner tonight?" I smiled, watching Peyton's shrinking figure in my rearview mirror as detectives approached her. "Dinner sounds perfect," I typed back. Sometimes revenge isn't about violence or drama. Sometimes it's just about letting people's own actions destroy them. And watching from the perfect distance as it all burns down. The news headlines were delicious. Executive couple charged in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Dante's perfect corporate headshot next to Peyton's LinkedIn profile picture, now forever linked to their downfall. I sipped my coffee, scrolling through the updates on my phone. The company had gone into damage control mode, distancing themselves from both Dante and Peyton. The board issued statements about zero tolerance for ethical violations. Too little, too late. "Stop reading that stuff," Kylie said, reaching across the table to lower my phone. We were at our usual spot in Corner Cafe. "It's over." "Not quite." I showed her the latest email from Valerie's lawyer. Peyton's trying to claim she was coerced by Dante, playing victim. Will it work? "No," I smiled. Omar's testimony destroyed that defense. Turns out he kept recordings of everything. Smart man. My phone buzzed. A text from Grant. "Dude, your house just sold. Above asking price." "Good," I said, showing Kylie the message. I never wanted to step foot in that place again anyway. She studied my face. "How are you really doing?" "Honestly," I leaned back. "I feel free, like I can finally breathe again." The cafe door chimed. Valerie walked in, looking relaxed for the first time since I'd met her. "It's official," she announced, sitting down. "Divorce finalized this morning. The judge gave me everything." "How's Dante taking it?" Kylie asked. "Last I heard, he's living in a motel. All his accounts are frozen, his assets seized. He tried calling our mutual friends, but..." She shrugged. Amazing how quickly people distance themselves from fraud suspects. My phone lit up with a familiar number. Peyton. "Speaking of desperate calls," I said, declining it. "That's the third time today." "She tried to contact me too," Valerie said. "Wanted to explain her side. I had my lawyer send a cease and desist. The preliminary hearing is next week," Kylie added. "HR's testifying about the falsified records." I nodded. Omar's cooperation deal included everything. The offshore accounts, the fake consulting fees, all of it. "You know what's funny?" Valerie said, stirring her coffee. "Dante always said I was naive, that I didn't understand how the real world worked." She smiled. "Guess he was wrong about that too." My phone buzzed again. This time, a news alert. Additional charges filed in corporate fraud case. New evidence reveals extensive money laundering scheme. "You should delete those alerts," Kylie said softly. "Start fresh." She was right. I pulled up my notification settings and cleared everything related to the case. "What now?" Valerie asked. "Now?" I looked at Kylie, caught the warm glint in her eyes. Now we live. No more schemes, no more revenge, no more looking back. To new beginnings, Valerie raised her cup. "And better endings," Kylie added. I lifted my coffee, thinking about how different everything was from that night I found the folder. The pain was still there, but it had transformed into something else, something stronger. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Grant. "Hey man, we still on for game night?" "Absolutely," I typed back. Normal life, real friends, honest relationships. Looking up, I caught Kylie's smile. Genuine, warm, nothing like Peyton's practice performances. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just watching your enemies fall. It's rising above their ashes and building something better. Something real. "So," I said, squeezing Kylie's hand back, "who's ready for lunch?"